Hey, it's 11:56 and you're behind the scenes as Teddy learns how to hit the buttons. And we're getting ready to get started with lunch conversations with Randy. That Randy would be the other guy, and Teddy is the other guy, and then our special guest, Janae. Janae, did you get a decent night's sleep last night?
I did. I got about 5 hours.
Is that enough?
It's pretty good. I think so.
How old are do you have kids? How old are your kids?
So 8 and 13.
Guy was on the call this morning I was on, and he said, I didn't get a good night's sleep last night. I said, why not? He goes, well, I got a 3-year-old. I said, well, does a 3-year-old, not allow you to get a good night's sleep? Well, a 3-year-old comes in the bedroom and jumps into bed and elbows me all night long. I said, can I give you a piece of advice about how to manage a 3-year-old? I said, you can use it or not. He goes, yeah, what would you say? I said, lock both doors.
Yeah, so they can't get in.
Or out.
All right.
All right. So, Randy, what about you, man? Did you get a decent night's sleep?
Yeah, I'd say so. I did. Word is that we may get tornadoes tomorrow. So
yeah.
That's not a good thing, but it will bring warmer weather, and that is a good thing. But it's a little chilly out there. I might have to wear a hat, Teddy.
Yeah, yeah. Or a what's it called? A knitted. Do you knit your own scarves?
I can't even boil eggs, so Teddy, I'm not much for that. But I'm human, and I've made some poor choices financially. I'd like to think, with good intentions, but I'm sure others would disagree. And so I'm excited that Janae is going to be on today because I think we can all use some refreshers and maybe some tips and things we hadn't thought about. You've been there and done it, and you come out on the good side. So not only informative, but I think inspirational too. So that'll be a good discussion we're going to have. As folks are joining us,
our good friend Cindy's on here.
There's Cindy. Yeah. Let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah.
All states are welcome. And
hey, I also love to hear how many times have you shown up? Drop the number, especially if you're brand new. If you're brand new to the show, drop in. Just put the number 1. Just put the number 1 in chat. Okay. Carol's back. I want to see who's brand new because we want to have fun with the brand new folks. The people who've seen us on a regular basis, they know what to expect. So,
hey, Teddy, if you're not colorblind, you'll notice that this is green. Can you see that there's some green in that and that I have a green shirt on?
I'm going to go. I got the green shirt thing happening. So,
the green shirt right there.
If you're not colorblind, you'll notice that this is bright greenish too.
Very much so. You're very dapper today.
Yeah.
Looking
we got
good.
no newbies yet, Randy. 13,000 people on here, and we got no newbies or none that want to declare newbie. Lisa's on here, Veronica's on here, Janice is on here, but no newbies.
Man. Janice is a colleague of mine, and Janice and Janae, Janice is excited to hear what you have to say because Janice also is very interested in financial awareness and financial well-being. So she and I talked yesterday, and she was excited to join. And I'm glad she's able to be on here live because if you on the call here live, and you are, then you can ask questions. Otherwise, you'll just watch it on YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever else we put it. So, Facebook. Hey, you know what time it is, Teddy? It's 12 noon.
Well, we're
12 noon.
It's time for us to get this show started, isn't it? So, but for some reason or other, we only got 17,000 people showed up at this hour. So, but the show must go on. The producers say we do not dawdle for anybody.
We don't.
Let's go. Hey, everybody, I'm Teddy Burriss. I work for a company called Oh, my sign's down. I lost my sign. Here. I work for Burriss Consulting. And we're social media strategists, and we don't have a clue how to produce a show, but we're trying our best. I'm on here again today with my good friend, Mr. Randy Wooden. Randy, wave to everybody. And our special guest, Janae Adams. And so thanks for everybody for showing up. Before I do the housekeeping, I'll let Randy tell our good friends who you are.
Sure. Again, Randy Wooden. I work for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina, and that's based here in Winston-Salem, where it's a little chilly and a little overcast today. I run our professional center and just one of many Goodwill programs with our particular Goodwill. My demographic, the ones that I serve, are typically ones that are on calls like this. Those are who are professionals, whether you're employed and looking around or unemployed. And I tell you what, we're going to have a show or two in the future that deals with what I call the upcoming turnover tsunami. We're hearing more and more that there's excessive burnout. People are feeling detached. And so just like when we popped out of the 08, 09 recession, I think we're going to see that. So a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, Goodwill, we're happy to help. Find me on LinkedIn, message me, and we're happy to help. We're free. So just know that we're out there. And that's how the show got started almost a year ago. We just decided, Teddy and I did, to put a show together to try to help job hunters in some way and have a little fun along the way. But also we've kind of branched out to, well, and Janae's a good example, professional development. How can we be a better worker, a better family person, a more stable, person from a financial standpoint? And so, Teddy, have I talked long enough? And are you ready for your?
Oh man, I got my ducks in a row, dude. Everything I do is digital, man. It's all right at the fingertips.
And I'll monitor the chat box over here.
Yeah. Hey,
this side.
tell us what you think about Randy's new camera, folks. Randy went out and splurged. He's begging to be covered under expenses, but he splurged on a new camera.
Yeah,
okay?
It's a new camera.
Yeah, so I'm hoping
it makes me look younger and thinner, Teddy. That's what you're supposed to say. Younger and thinner, smarter too, if you're so inclined. But
yeah.
all of those
Randy
things.
Paid a fortune for that camera
right here.
Make him look better.
It's a long process, my friend. So, all right, let's move on. Let's go.
Janice says you look good. So, hey, my friend that I've invited on as our special guest for today is Janae Adams. Janae is a global speaker, and her topics are all about money management, savings, preparedness, all around the dollar. And Janae has a really cool story that she'll tell us in a few minutes about how the fact that she was in more debt than she wanted to be in, and she wanted to get out of it, started her on this journey of not only better finance management for her and her family, but then teaching others and showing others how to do that. So Janae, the Money Attractor. When I first met you, the term that I remember was the Money Attractor. So thanks a lot for showing up today. Tell the folks, our friends here, a little bit more about you, would you?
Yes. So first of all, thank you all for having me on. I am Janae Adams. I own EMAC Consulting, but most people know me by the Money Attractor or Debt Sucks University. My main business is I speak around the country to corporations as well as colleges about financial literacy, about personal finance. And just my main goal is to help you be able to financially live your dreams.
Yeah. And I like the words you use because I've heard them often. For you to financially live your dreams. Yeah. So, Randy, would you hit Janae with your question, man?
Yeah, let's do that. And also, if you're watching us, let us know where you're watching us from. And if you have, I don't, I just do chat box, so I'm not as sophisticated as Teddy in the Q&A. So don't go there. Just put it in the chat if you have comments or questions. But Janae, I always am curious the why. Why are you doing what you do? Was it a single occurrence? Was it a series of events? What was it that pointed you in the direction? Because I can tell that you really love what you do. That didn't happen by accident. There's something that triggered that. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
And so my why came from, what happened to me in 2008, 2009. Like many people on here, I'm sure people have experienced a layoff. And not only did I experience a layoff in 2008 during the Great Recession, I experienced $50,000 in debt that I didn't know I had. So I ended up paying the debt off in 2 years. And because of that, that led me to what my real why is today. And that's helping people become financially free and become financially free in a way that they can do more of what they want to do, no matter what that is. I want you to make sure that you have the money and the space to be able to do that. So that's my goal. That's my passion each and every day that I wake up. It's like, how can I help someone get from where they are right now to where they want to be financially?
Yeah.
Good deal. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, Teddy.
Yeah. And that's good stuff. I'll tell you though, the often financial pain should make us think, should make us look at what we're doing and what we should be doing or could be doing differently than what we're doing today. I get that. So I paid cash for my fourth daughter to be born, but he got it in little teeny pieces over about an 8-year period. So that was pretty painful for me back then. I remember that made me and my wife think significantly about how we manage money. So hey, Janae, so you and I talked about some conversation points. So we have a list of conversation points, but I showed up last night for a conversation you had that really got me thinking, and it was about the stimulus package. And everybody knows about the $1,400 checks, and probably a lot of people on this call are eligible for the $1,400 checks. But there's a lot more in that package that I think were some really meaningful things that I was not really paying attention to. Could you talk about one or two of the things that you talked about last night and then again this morning at 6:45 when I heard you on WFMY News 2? One or two things that I think the audience might get value from. Could you?
Yeah, so definitely for those who have, felt the financial effects of the pandemic and are still feeling the effects of this pandemic, those who may be unemployed or under, paid right now, as well as those who may be behind on bills, the stimulus package actually added more money to a couple of housing provisions. So they are going to have $21 billion through 2027, but $2.5 billion of those dollars is going to go to state and local governments for rental assistance. So people on here that may be renting, and you're having problems making your rent payments, it is help on the way. And that money can be used for, back rent, utilities, something that can ease the financial burden for a lot of households right now. And it's even money that's going out for people who have mortgages as well. There's billions going out for that, so that people can use it for mortgages, obviously, and then of course any other kind of interest rate reductions that they could get. So this package really, outside of $1,400, is trying to really take the financial burden off of the American people.
Yeah, and the PPP loans really opened up as well, and are much more focused on small to medium businesses today than it is large businesses. That was pretty telling for me. Janae, in that context, where do you suggest people go if they're like, wow, I need to understand more about rent support, mortgage support, or PPP loans? Where should they go?
Yeah, so if you're thinking about the rental assistance and mortgage assistance, definitely reaching out to the person you have your mortgage with, and then of course reaching out to the nonprofits in the city that you're in, that they are actually can educate you on that. The package also provided $100 million for community navigators.
Mm-hmm.
So community navigators are basically the ones that can help you with the rental assistance, but they also can help you with the Paycheck Protection Program and help you educate around that. Go to wherever you have your business account at. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, if you want the Paycheck Protection Program, it is going to close on March 31st if Congress doesn't extend it for 2 months. They met yesterday, the House of Representatives, so hopefully they extend it. But if not, you have to March 31st to reach out to your financial institution to get the ball rolling. You only really got about 15 days to get that done.
Yeah. And the community navigator got me thinking that there might be work opportunities there.
Yes, definitely. So it's work opportunities. I was on a call with White House officials yesterday, and that's what they are looking for. They're looking for community navigators, whether you're a part of a nonprofit, whether you're an individual, they need people to get this information out. They can't do it. The government can't, whenever they put these kind of things out, they always want to contract out to help people get the information that they need, because that's what the person said. He said, without the information, none of this is any good. All this money that we're giving out, all these opportunities that we're giving out, if nobody knows about them, it doesn't even matter. And so that is the goal of the community navigators.
Got it. So good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. And Janae, seriously, I truly appreciate you being there in all of this conversation. So very much we're grateful for your help in that, keeping us aware.
No problem.
Yeah. So, all right, let's have a different conversation, relevant but different conversation. And by the way, if you have questions, drop questions in the chat. Randy's paying attention to the chat. Don't use the Q&A; it freaks him out. And just use the chat box. And if I give him 2 places to look, he can't do it yet, but he's getting better. So let's talk about something a little bit different, Janae. Relocating and working in different states.
Yes.
If you're looking for a job, what should we, as the folks who are on here who are looking for that next job, and they're in, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, they're in Boston, and a job opportunity comes up in Texas. Yeah. How does that work in regards to finances and jobs?
Yeah, so it's a few things you need to think about when it comes to relocation, especially around your money. Even if this new job is paying you substantially more. So like Teddy said, let's say you're moving from North Carolina to Texas. Well, just in one instance, you're going to have a different power bill. Like, it's a different world. Okay. So here in North Carolina, we have Duke Energy. It's pretty much that. But in Texas, it's privatized, and you have to be able to choose who you're going to use and understand their language. So when they had this storm a few weeks ago, people were getting $10,000 bills and $17,000 bills for 3 days because of the power situation that they have there. So that's the kind of things to think about. Also, whoever is giving you the job, are they going to provide you assistance to get there? Okay, to get your car there, to get your clothes and furniture there. How much does it cost to live there? This is all the kind of things that you need to think about currently. And then where is the money going to come from if you have to fund it for yourself? So you have, of course, the $1,400 coming in, or if you're a family of 4, you have what is that, $5,600 coming in? That's some good money to move for a new job. Mm-hmm. And then other money as far as a tax refund if you qualify for that. So we're in a good place right now. If you're a person that has a job for possible relocation, you might be able to fund it yourself because of the money that's coming in.
Yeah. I remember when I took a job and lived in Maryland, I was working in New Jersey.
Wow.
Now I got some, travel expenses and that kind of stuff, but there were a lot of expenses I didn't have covered. So, I had to stay in an extended stay, and my per diem didn't cover that.
Yeah.
And there were some times where I stayed across the weekend. And so I had extra costs. So I'm with you. If you're going to take a job in a different state, you got to think about that transition and what's that going to cost, the relocation, what that's going to cost, let alone the challenges of moving a family emotionally.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had a couple questions pop up in the chat box. So let's take the one down here at the bottom. And this deals with the stimulus funds that the $1,400 or whatever the amount is. Is it typically better to use those dollars to eliminate debt, or maybe keep it as a cushion in case of other expenses that pop up? What are your thoughts on paying down debt versus having a little extra something?
Yeah. And so the people, whenever I'm talking to people on stage, I always say that you should have at least $1,500 saved in what I call it in case you're breathing fund. Because if you're breathing, something can happen. So I would like you to have at least $1,500 saved. And then after that, you can put any extra money towards debt. Okay. So paying down your debt. And then once you're debt free, then I like people to have a year's worth of expenses saved. So if your expenses are $3,000 a month, I like for you to have 36 grand. Why I say that? Because it's become harder and harder to find new jobs at the same amount that you used to make or more. And when you have a year's worth of expenses, at the least 6 months, I'll go with 6 months. If you have a year's worth of expenses saved, then you look a lot less desperate in an interview. And hiring managers can smell desperate and they can offer you less than you're worth. So that's why I always say have a year's worth. I was in an industry that would let people go every Thanksgiving. So I say a year's worth because I know the kind of volatility there is in the marketplace.
Got it. Now there's another question, and this deals with student loan debt and tips on how to pay that off. Mm-hmm. This individual is a recent graduate and apparently still in their grace period, gotcha. But they're going to need to start thinking ahead. Mm-hmm. So how do we navigate that whole student loan situation?
Yeah, so 25 of the 50 grand of debt was student loans. And what I tell people, first and foremost, you're in a different situation than everybody else, mainly because student loans are on a pause, interest rates and payments through September 30th. That's what is going on. And more than likely, they're going to extend that even further once September 30th comes. So just know that this is your opportunity right now, if you have the funds to do it, to pay towards your student loans, especially if they're federal, because the federal ones are the only one doing this. If you're paying towards the principal right now, your balance is coming down a lot faster, which means you're going to pay less over time. So everybody who has student loans right now, federal student loans, you can actually win and beat them because the interest rate is not there. So if you do have the money to start doing that, please start doing that. And then also make sure, because you're fresh out of college, whatever that salary ends up being, to try to live on less than that. So if you're making $3,000 a month, then I need you to live on $1,500 and use the other $1,500 towards your student loans. Because guess what? In 10 months, that means you pay $15,000 off just like that. And also everyone on here with student loans, federal student loans, please remember that there is a high possibility that 10 grand of it will be forgiven, maybe this year or the next. So if you have 10 or less, you may want to wait it out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's it for the chat box so far, Teddy. That's it on the chat. So as we get more, I'll bring it up. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So Janae, we got, a lot of people on the call here are, looking for a job. They're out of job.
Yes.
Now and I know this. I know people. Probably some of the people in here can relate to this. I knew a guy who he worked in the library. He was a document management professional in a library.
Okay.
Now, what that means is he's the dude who ran around the library and got these documents for people.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, that all went digital. So he no longer, just like an upper knocker, and anybody on the call doesn't know what an upper knocker is, do a Google search on upper knocker, and then let me know what you think they're getting paid today, because they aren't getting paid today. No, this is an antiquated roles. And we have a lot of people who are coming out of antiquated roles.
Yeah.
So they've got to up their skills. They got to up their game.
Yeah.
And so, but yet they don't have any income coming in.
Yeah.
They can't necessarily afford to go take and get a new degree.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some ideas that you have that these that our folks on here can use to up their game a little bit without spending a lot of money?
Yeah, and it's different types of resources that people can use. It is a platform called edX. So EDX has free courses on there. A lot of these higher ed institutions, these colleges, offer free courses. I'm sure, I think Harvard is one of them. Another one I seen came out this week that they're offering like hundreds of courses for free that you can go and learn. You have the Google certificates that are just coming out that you can take advantage of that is free. It's a lot of different opportunities that are out there and that can be done for less than you think. If you want to start a business, of course, you have the small business centers, for those in North Carolina, on every community college, they have free classes of things you can do as well. It's so many options out there. It just takes some time to research it. So think of what you're interested in doing and go out there and say free courses. You just go to Google and say free courses on X and just watch everything come up and start learning. Just start learning.
You mean all I gotta do is Google free courses?
That's it. That's it. And they'll come up. And then, of course, follow people within those industries who are always teaching. If someone wanted to know about personal finance, if they follow me, they'll learn so much and they can use that for themselves. But it's people in every kind of industry like that, business coaching, you name it, social media, you name it. There's somebody there that can teach you and for you to learn and up your value next time you go to an interview.
Yeah, and Todd dropped, check out SCORE. I think it's score.org. And as you said, Janae, go small business centers. And I work for small business centers across North Carolina, and that's all free. These courses people can learn are all free through small business centers, which are associated with the North Carolina community college platform in North Carolina. And I'm sure in other states, they have the same stuff. I'm with you, Janae. There's a lot of ways for us to grow and become better and develop skills and even new skills without always forking out the dollar.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about emotion. Talk a little bit about how people feel, mental. This is tough. And I realize it's tough because I get the opportunity to meet so many people who are in job search, and there's probably people in the audience who've been out of work for a year or longer.
Yeah,
I know these folks, and it's really tough. And
yes.
I worry a lot for them. How can we help them to stay strong or stronger or to deal with, this position of not having any income right now?
Yeah. And first and foremost, that is extremely tough when you've been out for a year. And I remember when I was laid off, I had worked for them for 8 years. And I mean, they tell me to run through a wall, and run through the wall. And then they can let me go just like that in an 8 a.m. call. And, I felt pretty bad until I found out I was $50,000 in debt. So that kind of erased it really fast. But I felt really bad that, just gave up on me just like that. But what I learned after that is that a career or a company is not who I am. And I was Janae before I ever started working for anybody. And so when I tell people that, even people, my friends who have lost jobs, I'm like, that doesn't define you. You're so much more than that. You have so much more talents than what you did for someone who paid you a paycheck. And so that's what I do to try to encourage people. And I hope that will encourage some of you on here. Understand that, hang out with family members and friends who encourage you. That's another thing. Hang out with people who encourage you. Even if your family and friends are not supportive, then guess what? There are plenty of people around the world through social media that are supportive. I mean, we cheer each other on. I see, a friend of mine, she was on a podcast yesterday, or she was doing, a presentation. I said, good job, and she's in, DC. And we just know each other really from social media. But there are other people that can cheer you on. And that's who you need to surround yourself with right now, because that actually might make the job search a little bit easier. Because sometimes we don't want to even get on the computer. When we've been out of work for so long, forget it. I'm just going to just lay in bed today. But surround yourself with people who can encourage you to keep going, that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, there's heard a term the other day that we've always got to be developing our skill set and our mindset.
Yes.
And when I heard that, I'm like, man, that mindset is something that we often don't think about. And just as you said, one powerful way to alter our mindset in a positive way is to change who we hang out with.
Yes, definitely.
And, all my friends and my family in lots of different ways, I love them all, but some of them I just know that it's the wrong thing for me to do to hang out with them, because I know at the end of the day that the most important thing I can hear from somebody is keep going. Let me help you. Who do you need to meet? What do you need that I can give you or I can help you find? That's important. And so, and towards that end, I tell you, everybody on a regular basis, reach out to someone who you haven't talked to in a while, who you believe is struggling or you feel is struggling. And that can be very impactful for that person's life and for yours. Randy?
Well, yeah, just to kind of echo sort of what both of you are saying is look at some incremental steps too. And whether it's paying down debt, I mean, you could look at it on the one hand and say, look, this is a huge mountain. I can never climb that. That's 50 grand and I'm making, whatever compared to 50. So, phew, do I even want to embark on that? Or do I bite off little chunks as I go and say, hey, I'm making progress here? And whether it's partial paying down every month, every week, or it's having conversations with people, it's meeting new people through social media and growing your network. I think the positive momentum can come into play. And I know today's topic is surrounding the finance part, but it also plays a big role when you're out of a job, because now you've got not only my self-worth, again, maybe, okay, I'm not defined by my job, but for a lot of us, we kind of are. For many of us, we felt like our value to the world, aside from being a parent or, whatever, is the role that I hold. And when that's taken away, my identity has been taken away. So I lose that. And now I'm also not making the money. So now my family, there's the stress, and it can become, I think, a self-defeating kind of, swirling kind of cesspool after a while. Any thoughts on that? But just that whole thing about the incremental steps, I guess
I'll tell you a quick little story of a friend of mine, a young couple, 3 children, and they're drowning in debt, and huge, ridiculous debt that happened for lots of reasons. And, I don't need to talk about that so much as what are they doing? Small steps. And here's one of the small steps they did. One of the members of the family bought 2 kayaks, really nice kayaks. Go look at what the cost of really nice kayaks are. They're not cheap. And they sold those 2 kayaks, took a loss on it, but they sold and got money, and they used that money to pay off one of the pieces of debt. Now, it wasn't huge, but it was enough that they celebrated those small steps.
Yeah, definitely.
It's huge. So, good stuff. So, all right, Janae. We're what do we call ourselves? We're people. We love to hang out with people, and we love to hang out with our friends, but maybe it's not the smartest thing for me to do, as I put this on my back. If I don't have any income, or if I don't have enough income coming in, maybe I shouldn't be going out to pick a bar every Friday night with my buddies. Okay. But they want to do that.
Yeah.
How do we position those statements to our friends and family to say, I'm not going to Cancun this weekend. I'm not going to go to that bar. I'm not going to spend that money. How can we do that?
Yeah. So during that 2 years that I was paying off the $50,000 of debt, we didn't go out to eat for 2 years. We didn't go on vacation for 2 years. Nobody got a gift for 2 years. And I'm talking about Christmas, birthday, anniversary, Valentine's Day, nothing. And people, before I found out I was $50,000 in debt, I would let people loan people money, $100 here, $50 here. And of course they didn't pay me back. So when we were in that hole, I had to say to myself that we are Adams Inc., like a company. We're incorporated. And no company that we know, anybody that's worked for a company, that they never let any outside force come and destroy that. And so that's the mindset we had to get into and say, no, nobody, not friends, not family, they can't mess up what we're trying to do right now. We have dreams, we have goals, and in order to get to them, we need to become debt free. And so we got laser focused that way. And so I said no a lot. My friends was like, we're going on this trip. You want to go? Nope. We're going out to eat. Nope. Because I had what I call my dream sheet that I give to people whenever I go to speak. And my dreams are short-term, intermediate, and long-term dreams. That's what kept us going for those 2 years. And so I just tell everybody on here, if you have a problem telling people no, whatever your last name is, write that down and say, let's say it's Williams or Burriss Incorporated. And nobody is going to come from the outside and destroy Burriss Incorporated or Wooden Incorporated.
Yeah, I get you. I love that philosophy that, we are We are a business entity, a personal, but yet business entity, and we have to protect it. So,
Yes.
And you know, the right thing to do is if the people in your life understand you, trust, respect, and love you enough, they're going to understand that philosophy. Those who don't,
Yeah.
what was the statement? Those who matter mind. Those who mind.
Those who mind don't matter. Those who matter don't mind. Maybe that's what it is.
Something like that. Yeah. They'll care more. Hey, it's a half hour show, half hour through the show. Thanks a lot for joining Lunch Conversations with my friend Randy and myself, and our special guest is Janae Adams. Janae's bringing a conversation about finances and jobs, and touched a little bit about the stimulus, and we're just talking about big picture ideas that we can be thinking about. And we're so thanks a lot for everybody who showed up. See, we're Randy, we're hitting a new number, dude. Hitting a new number of live on Zoom, live on Facebook, live on LinkedIn, man. All new numbers. It's pretty cool. Yep. And so we're grateful to everybody who's here. Randy, anything stacked up in the Q&A that we need, or the chat yet?
Yeah, there is. There is. It's a little longer, so I may not dive too deep into it, but something I just kind of hearing between the two of you, a word, maybe you didn't use it exactly, but I think of the word empowering. And taking control. You feel empowered when you're able to say no, or when you are on a path to reach that short-term or intermediate goal. You feel empowered. I think a lot of times when we lose a job, we feel like we're kind of flopping around in the ocean, and there's no life jacket, and we're hoping somebody throws us something that we can latch onto, but we just kind of feel aimless and don't feel empowered or in control. So this is something you can control. And at the end of it, you look back and you go, wow, I accomplished something.
Yeah.
And I think that whole mindset of that empowering can be powerful, to pun intended, but anyway.
I'm with you. I'm with you. So
yep.
I remember some times in my life when it was really tough, and transitions from one job to another. And I remember, and even today, I think about this in my own business. I mean, if my income, because I'm totally responsible for my income. I don't have a direct deposit. Yeah. And by the way, total truth be known, in the last 12 years, I've never gotten a check, but my wife says she's happy. But my point is that if the revenue stream is not where we expect it, I know better than to go think about spending money.
Yeah.
And it's really important to think that way, buddy.
Yeah. And I'll just throw this at you. It's I guess a software somebody mentioned, YNAB. I don't know if you're familiar with YNAB, but
you need a budget.
Yeah. Talking about budgeting and the forward-looking budget, I guess, versus backward-looking. I don't know if you want to speak to that or not, but I wasn't familiar with that. So is that something you can share some light on?
Yeah, and I don't use you need a budget. I know some people that definitely do. I'm more of a pencil and paper kind of person. I need to write it down and see things. And Teddy, I killed Teddy with stuff like that.
Well, I'm surprised Randy didn't do, here's mine, Teddy.
I just can't catch a break, man. I'm telling you. But no, if whatever works for you. I guess the idea is there are different ways to get there, whether it's manual, whether it's software. And the end game is you get the results that you're hoping for and that you expect to get. So Teddy, let me throw it back to you. That's it.
That's what Steven said. Steven's shared that YNAB was huge. It was the right help at the right time when he got laid off. So, So let's good stuff. So all right. So we're hopefully, and by the way, Randy, tell me what your thoughts are. What are you seeing? I'm hearing more and more little growth, small amount of growth in organizations looking for people. Are you seeing that, Randy?
Well, yeah. And companies everything's different. You've got sectors like hospitality that are still just woefully, behind, but other ones that seem to have picked up, and time will tell how quickly the economy rebounds in general. That said, if you're out of a job, it's right in front of your nose. You don't have a job.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you hear about, read about, it's what's going to happen to me. So we're talking with Janae Adams today and really looking at how we can work with numbers, our finances. So to improve not only our mindset in the, our family, but also at the end of the day, so that we're able to have the things that we need to survive, right? And we need to plan to have those. They don't happen by accident. So it's inspirational, but it's also informative. I don't see anything else right now on the chat box, but if you have comments, chat them in there and I'll keep an eye on it. Tell you.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I mean, this is all about understanding ideas and different perspectives and resources that can help us. And, I truly believe that when we are going through challenges and we're dealing with stress and we're dealing with stuff that it really does tax us in lots of ways, pun maybe not so intended, that we need to think about when we're coming out of it. What did we learn? What did we learn? And so that we can do this better or not have it as serious next time. So in that context, Janae, hopefully everybody on this call is going to get the phone call here soon or the email or, some message and say, here's an offer.
Yeah.
And they're going to take a new job. And, life is going to be better, if not more grandiose. I'm very purposeful about it. It's going to be better or it's going to be really fantastic, one or the other. So what should they think about as they start into that new job? What should they think about to prepare for the potential of this happening again?
Yeah. And so when I was laid off, I didn't like that feeling at all. And I told my family, I'm never going to be in this position again at all. During that time, we know that the economy went off on a cliff in 2008. But there was a lot of opportunities out there, but I couldn't take advantage of it because I didn't have any money. I was in a lot of debt. And so this time around, when the recession hit, I was in a better position. And that's the kind of mindset that I would like for people on here. Although I was an entrepreneur, you're going into a new career and you have felt how things feel in a recession without a job. And so that should propel you to say, I'm never going to be in that position again. So when this new career comes, the new money starts coming in, how can you set up yourself or you and your family to make sure that when a recession comes again, because they always come, I am not in a bad position. And so what I would say is that making sure that you have, like I said, the $1,500 saved. Start aggressively paying off any debt that you have. I'm not talking about your home if you have a home, but any kind of consumer debt. Debt is risk to your life, okay? Debt is risk to your life. And so I need you to aggressively during this time pay things off. If you need to sell things, like Teddy was saying, that's things we did. We sold things. We took on an extra job and I taught tennis. We brought money in. Like we didn't just pay off $50,000 of debt with our income. No, that can't happen that way. You've got to cut some things out, cut some things back, and really, get the debt out of your life. And then after that, build up your year's worth of savings. What that does is that if you get laid off again, you're not going to feel the world crashing down next time. You're going to say, okay, this is their loss. Now where we're going to go and take our talents now. Like LeBron said, taking their talents to Miami Beach. Where are we going to take our talents next? Okay, so that's what it is. It's about having options and choices and getting your finances correct before another, if a layoff happens again, before that happens.
Randy?
Yeah, and Janae, you mentioned about you taught tennis and did some other things to bring in money. One of our viewers was asking, hey, okay, I get it that you didn't spend any money, but how'd you pay off the debt if you weren't making money?
Yeah.
So,
and so
how'd you do that?
Yeah, so I was laid off when after I got laid off the first time, I was out of work for 4 months. So it was basically survival mode. And at that time, North Carolina had better unemployment benefits. So I was making $500 a week in unemployment benefits. And then of course, my husband had a job and he was a teacher, so he didn't make that much. And he was an assistant teacher. So we basically scraped by until I got another career going. Any extra money that came in, if we got a tax refund, it went to the debt. When I used to get tax refunds, it went to the debt. And then, of course, we had the first the first summer, we had a yard sale every Saturday from 8 to 12 p.m. And we averaged between $200 and $400 every Saturday selling stuff to people that we no longer wanted. It's just a lot of things that you have to do and just really hustle your way to find extra money to pay off the debt. Everyone's not going to pay off a bunch of debt in 2 years like I did. But if you make a plan, you may pay it off in 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, it's just about getting it paid off.
So a couple things, Janae. I'm with you. Everybody's journey is a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
So it might take longer or it might be easier to overcome some of those debt challenges. The yard sale. When you were selling stuff, you say every Saturday?
Every Saturday, first summer.
So, but did you sell stuff that somebody else in the family wasn't really excited about selling?
To be honest with you, I didn't care what nobody thought they wasn't gonna sell. It's getting out of here. That's what it is. Like we had 5 TVs for 2 people and my 2.5. My son was 1, and so I sold 3 of those TVs. We don't need 5 TVs. That's craziness. And so that's the kind of things that we our backs are against the wall. This doesn't feel good. The economy is in a free fall right now. We got to get this stuff off our backs. Yeah. So especially with a 1-year-old at home. So the more stress a person feels, financial stress, the more steps they would take to make it right.
Yeah, I get that. Well, somebody in the audience who I know personally is threatening to call my wife about my thoughts about my stuff, but hopefully she's just joking. So. I'm with you 100%, Janae. I mean, the couple that is selling that I told you about has sold the canoes. They're selling other stuff.
Yeah.
And because they know they have a goal to be debt free with everything in 10 years.
Okay.
And they believe they can do it because they have enough income to survive and to overcome this challenge, which is a huge challenge. And if it's big enough, if it's staring you in the face every daggone day when you open that mailbox up and you see another bill, if it's big enough, then you're going to make a plan to tackle it. Absolutely. Yeah.
We're in a different era too than I was in 2008. You weren't able to stay on to the end last night on the presentation, but on the last slide, I talked about wealth transfer and about how much money has come in over the last year to households. Overall it's $5 trillion at least that these stimulus packages have put out, but in households of 4, just from the 3 stimulus checks, $11,000 at least. And that has nothing to do with the child tax credits that's going to start in July. That's another, if you got 2 children, that's another $6,000, maybe $7,200. It's been a lot of money coming in for the last year that people, if they had, had a job or had a little bit of money coming in, they could have used them thousands to pay down debt.
Yeah. I'm with you. Randy.
Yeah. There are a couple thuld in the chat area. One is, what's the biggest mistake that you've seen people make that really does get them into debt?
I would say thinking that money's always going to be coming in. All right. That's the mistake I made. I always tell people, as long as the money coming in, everybody getting paid, we're good. We're good. It's just numbers on paper. Your student loan, this number on paper. Credit card debt, numbers on paper. It's just like they're magical numbers that don't ever have to get paid back until you lose your job. And so just being able to have that false security is what I feel a lot of people get into debt, and also trying to impress other people. That's usually what it is. Like you want to show people I went to this beach. You want to show people I got this new car, and you don't even see the outside of the car when you're driving it. Why are you paying so much money for a car? It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. But it's really about trying to impress other people, because everybody wants to hear, man, that's a good job. Congratulations on your house. Congratulations on you going to the beach, going to Greece and so forth. And that just push you into debt more and more until you lose a job and realize it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Randy.
Well, years ago, I had a guy tell me something, and I'll get it mixed up here, but you spend money you don't have to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Now, we also had a comment in here. Do you have any info on stimulus assisting healthcare.gov premiums?
Okay, so only what they've done so far from what I read in the stimulus is that they've, of course, opened it back up to May 15th, but they are going to cover COBRA for the next, I think it's either to the end of the year or September. So if you get let go from a job and you have COBRA and you want to keep it, you want to keep that health care, the government is going to cover it because of this package that just passed. So that is one thing that will help with COBRA at least. And the money that they have put out there for healthcare is supposed to bring the premiums down, but it's only a few days old, so you may not be seeing those changes just yet. But I would they have healthcare navigators, just like the community ones that they're trying to get. They have healthcare navigators that can really walk you through your personal situation.
Great. Thank you.
Today, let's do this. I want to do two things now, if I can. One with our audience. So, we got huge audience on here. For those of you who are going through job search now and out of jobs, and when you're commenting just to panelists. I won't use your names, but I'd love to hear one thing that you learned that about yourself and about what's going on with you because you're out of job. One thing that you have learned that you won't let happen to you the next time this happens. One tip that you've discovered, because I love to share those of other people, so that we can help each other with our own experiences and what we've learned. So if you don't mind, everybody on here, as much as you want, share one tip that you learned about this that we can share with others. And while you're dropping those in, we'll talk about those later on. Janae, this is great stuff. And just like last night, you were online for 2 hours last night, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Were you on LinkedIn?
I haven't been approved for LinkedIn yet.
Oh, you got to keep asking, girl. You got to keep asking. Don't stop asking.
Okay.
Live on Clubhouse for 2 hours talking about this stimulus bill, which is 800 pages, and you said you read at least 400 of those.
It's 628, and I've read 400 of them. Yes.
Yeah, and absolutely, and so thanks for all that. Thanks for showing up today, and sharing ideas and helping people. Put together this in a nice little tight statement. What are a couple little tips that you want to consolidate that for everybody on the show today?
Yeah, I would definitely say, for those of you who are unemployed right now, once you become employed, definitely get the $1,500 saved. That is the most important part, is to get that cushion under you. What that does is keep you from going into debt even more if an emergency happens. And then after that, start paying down the debt. I would like mentally to understand that it's not your whole being. Any company is not your whole being. It's so much more to you. I'll use myself as an example. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I love to play tennis. It's so much more to me than when I worked for Pfizer and Eli Lilly. They went on and I went on my life. Even my business now, I'm more than this business. I can step away from it and just be fine. So mentally, just definitely keep that in mind. And also, it's always going to be a better tomorrow. It's always going to be a better tomorrow. If you have to say no, like I did, like I had to say no for 2 years, but now I get to say yes for the rest of my life. So make sure that you understand that there's always better coming.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Randy, you see the ideas of dropping in chat, man?
Yeah, I do. We're not going to mention names of the folks, but some of the things people have learned today, that $1,500 saved for emergencies makes good sense. Also, having that a year's worth of expenses saved, or at least a half year's worth of expenses saved up. You're being given kudos for reading 400 pages of the bill. So there you go. You're also, somebody says too that, hey, you know what? I learned that I'm responsible for myself.
Yeah.
I'm responsible, self-control, setting priorities. Also,
I like to take the foot off the gas, Randy. Take the foot off
I'm
the
looking
gas.
at that. When you think an offer's coming up and you just go, you know what, I'm going to sit back and chill because they're going to hire me. And then next thing you know, they don't. And now momentum has stopped. So those are some things that we've had people comment on. And if you've got other comments, throw them out here. I appreciate you coming in, Janae. This is really good. So awesome. Teddy, or is it time for us to?
Go ahead, Janae.
I had just one more tip for people on here. Just what I was thinking about, back to the person you said that worked in the library, and then someone was saying about hotels. Thinking about ways that you can use your skill set that you had in a career to create your own side business as of right now while you're looking for another job, consulting especially. I've been traveling, before everybody started traveling. I started traveling last August, and I've been to Key West and the Virgin Islands and different places around the country. And I will tell you this, these hotels have not, the Virgin Islands was fine. The hotels have not figured out a way to measure how many workers they should have at one on each day. And anybody that has, I have grace for that, but a lot of people don't have grace for that. So they might say the kitchen's only open this amount of days a week, when I'm not staying there then. And I paid you a certain amount of money. I need the kitchen to be open because that's what it said on the website. So if you were in the hospitality industry and you can go and start to consult these managers, these owners about how to measure how many, housekeepers need to be there, how many people need to be there as far as the cooks are concerned, because that traffic is going to pick up soon. So that's something that you can create a proposal or a package for and start to get paid thousands of dollars to consult these different hotels, which are independent operators, so they can pay you themselves. You don't have to go to Hilton headquarters. You can actually get paid by them.
Yeah. And somebody dropped in here, start your side consulting. Sometimes we call it our side hustle, our side gig, or our evening gig. The couple that I was talking about who are trying to pay off debt, they're doing that. I mean, she had a thriving business that the COVID just dropped it down to minimal to almost dead.
Yeah.
He has a pretty decent business. They have their own businesses.
Yeah.
And he had his own business. It took a beating, but it's starting to come back up. She decided to start a side hustle, and she started a side hustle, create a product that people want to pay money for.
Awesome.
And so she's selling she's selling signs. She's basically selling signs, and people want this.
Yeah.
And, it's not huge money on each transaction, but it's a lot of transactions, and, it's helping them pay off their debt.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Janae, good stuff. Randy, do you have a story for us today, buddy, before I introduce our next speaker?
A few comments. I think something we didn't touch on today, especially for young people who are dealing with maybe student loan debt, and that is throwing a big extravagant wedding. And, do you really want to throw thousands of dollars at a wedding, or could you put that as a down payment on a home, or buy a fifth yacht, or, whatever you want to buy with it, right? But I've talked this before. Certainly, I'm no tax expert and not I would make a lousy financial planner. But that said, I think we like to have that comfort level of those cushions, whether it's time, meaning I leave for work in plenty of time to get there, so I'm not stressed. I do what I have to have the financial cushion, so I'm not stressed. And something I jotted down here was saying no and planning. We plan our education. We sit down with a guidance counselor. Oh, you want to go to college, huh? Or, oh, you want to go to trade school. And then we have to sit down with our guidance counselor there and say, okay, what classes do I take? And, you plan that education. And to some degree, you sort of plan your career too, to say, I want to do this. I want to move up and up and up and up. But one thing we don't plan for is the financial piece of it. You'd mentioned that earlier. It's sort of like, hey, the money's coming in. I got a job. We're rocking, right? No problem. And it's a topic. It's awkward to talk about, and I can speak from experience on that. It's just something that you'd almost rather not have to deal with, and it becomes a problem that can consume you. And it certainly did with me for a number of years. Thankfully, that's now in the rearview mirror. And many of the things that you talked about were things that I had to do along the way as well. And, just you do what you got to do, bottom line. So again, thank you. Inspirational, informative. And I'm really glad you could stop by and join us today. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I had a great time. So thank you all for having me.
So Janae, you're going to tell people that this was fun to do?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Definitely.
good. We need that help. We need, well, Lord, we need that help. So,
Yeah, always fun with you all. So definitely.
Yeah.
hey, next week, this is going to be you expect this from us. Okay. What you expect are unique conversations that you can use in your business, in your career, in your life. Okay. And so towards that end, remember this, if you have ideas, tell us about ideas about people and conversations that you want. And Randy and I will do everything in our power. Right, Randy?
You got that right.
Yeah, everything. We will.
Everything in our power, we'll do it.
Dude, we're booked up till the end of June, right?
Yeah, through the end of June. And I know you're going to talk about our guest coming up, but as I just look at a few of these things, we've got a LinkedIn guru on here. We've got other women breaking the glass ceiling and how that got done. We've got people from the state and the county to talk about workforce development. We've got a retired CEO to talk about big picture stuff.
Yeah.
When you sit down with a CEO versus a frontline manager, oh gosh, just tons and tons. We're in the works with some other topics that are going to be really cool for July, August, and September. But I know we've got our big anniversary show, Teddy, right?
That's coming up in 2 weeks, I think. Hey, look, Randy and I spare no expense. Okay, that's a little satire. No expense to bring good speakers to the show, okay?
Yep.
Randy, I don't think Janae knows. All right, so next week, we have 2 sales professionals from the Brooks Group. And just do a Google search on the Brooks Group. They're world renowned, and I'm being serious with that. They're very highly known sales training organization.
Yeah.
Dan Markin and Josh Winters are coming in from the Brooks Group. And the conversation is basically going to be about demystifying the sales job. People always say that they're scared of sales jobs, that they've never done one before. They don't want a commission job. But I'm telling you, these guys are going to come and have a conversation with us. It's going to be really informative about the idea of taking a sales job and demystifying it. I can tell you firsthand, I've had a sales job. It was scary when I took the job, but then it was lucrative when I started getting my A game on. So it'd be a great conversation next week, the 24th. Again, invite your friends. If you know somebody who would enjoy and get benefit from the conversations, please tell them about it. And if you have a topic or a speaker, tell Randy and I about it. Randy, did I miss anything, buddy?
Yeah, just the April 7th. It's a 90-minute show that we'll have. We'll have, I think, 10 of our former special guests on, and we'll relive a little bit about how their life and business have changed due to COVID. Maybe reminisce a little bit about their topic and some pointers they may want to remind us of. And so, and if you may know of perhaps even a sponsor, somebody that may want to help us grow the show, because there are associated costs that we take on ourselves. We'd love to have that discussion too. We're here to help. We started this thing with no expectation of week 2. It was just like, Daddy, let's have some fun.
Yeah. And
here we are a year later. And doing all right. So you guys have a great week. It looks like about top of the hour. So anything else we need to cover? Nope.
Janae, thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Have a great week, folks.
Right.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Yep.